9 to Noon Radio continues right around 10:40, and here is P.J. Fleck, coach of the Golden Gophers football team. You shut out Colorado, and shutouts in college football, shutouts period, just generally don't take place. They're very hard to get. Congratulations on that. The victory, handling the elevation. Now a couple days removed from the game, Coach. What are some things that are lasting, things that still resonate with you?
Well, PA, great to be on the show, man. Thanks for having us back all the time, man. Good to hear from you. And, I saw a team that had fun playing together. I saw a team for each other. And then I saw just full speed intensity. And that's what I saw on the field. Now, there's a lot of meat left on the bone, offensively, defensively, and special teams. We missed 2 field goals, missed an extra point. We didn't capitalize on a lot of different things that we could have finished drives on. But I love the effort of our team. No game's ever going to be perfect. I've never had one, never will have one. But I loved how hard they played. And anytime you hold a team to 63 total yards, you got to look at why you did that. And I think it's a culmination of what we learned from game 1 against Ohio State, plus what we learned against Miami, Ohio, and then putting it all together and making sure that our third game was our best performance. Now, is it what we're all capable of doing? No, there's a lot of meat left on the bone. But you want your team to keep getting better, and I saw there were a lot of signs in a lot of different areas of us getting better. And but you're only as good as what you see on film, and there's a lot more that we can get better at.
Colorado negative 19 rushing yards. That's fourth best in team history. It's fourth best in the history of the university. Well done. 63 yards of offense for Colorado, fewest for an FBS team since 2017 in the Kansas Jayhawks. And I want to ask you about a couple of guys who aren't as name-wise aren't as prominent as Ottman Bell or Tanner Morgan or Maffei or so on, like defensive back Justin Wally. Specifically with the way he plays defensively and from the team component, PJ, on special teams.
Absolutely. And first of all, Justin Wally's from Mississippi. His mom and dad were at that game in Colorado. His brother actually plays for Mississippi State. He's a guy that was named Mr. Mississippi in the highest class in Mississippi last year, and is a true freshman. I think that our fans are going to be really excited about this young man into the future. He's incredibly physical. He's fearless. He's got great cover skills. He's fast. He's athletic, and he's really intelligent. And he's a wonderful person. He checks all those boxes for us, and he's competitive as all get out. So to be able to play as a true freshman, especially at that position, you better be incredibly confident, and you better be able to flush the last play, learn from the last play, and be able to go out there with a different mentality. And he does. Paul Haynes, our corners coach, has done a great job developing him. Rob Wanger has really incorporated him on our special teams. And he's a name people are going to hear about for a lot of years.
You and to get a shutout, well, to win a game, A, but B, to get a shutout, 40 minutes time of possession. It doesn't always work that way, but when you get 2/3 of the game, are you kidding me? I mean, that is like a coach's dream on a weekly basis, right?
It is. I mean, that's our style of football. I mean, we would really love to be able to have that every single week. Now, we did have it at week 1 Ohio State. The problem was they were scoring every time they had the ball, so they didn't have any, it was explosive play after explosive play. So they didn't have the ball very often, so that time of possession was skewed a little bit. But, we want ball control and take what the defense gives us and be balanced. And I think some people think balance is true 50-50, and it's not. It's being able to win a game, whether it's through the air or on the ground, or doing both to win the football game. I think that's what being a balanced offense is all about. It's not just true 50-50. It's doing what it's necessary to go win the football game. And, we threw the ball 17 times, and we had 2 throws we probably want back, 1 drop we had back, and it could have been 14-17 and could have been a lot better. That's why I talk about the meat on the bone. So we love possessing the ball, and that's our style of football. And, we don't plan on changing that anytime soon.
P.J. Fleck, weekly 9 to noon. Discuss the art, P.J., of the job, knowing when to milk a lead and take the foot off the gas. I mean, the age-old cliche is prevent defense, prevents winning. But, I mean, it's an art, milking a lead, chewing the clock, and same with roots to playing defense. Discuss that, please.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's no perfect formula. I know as a head coach, I've learned a lot throughout a lot of failing, doing it wrong to get it right. doing it right to continue to learn forward. And, I learned from a guy by the name of Jim Tressel, which I'm sure everybody knows who he is, right? And, one thing he taught me was game management. And nothing's perfect. No one's perfect. No one's going to call a perfect game. But there's a certain time where you feel like, and probably it's a lot later for me than probably most, because I have been 1-11. I have been the worst coach in America. I've had to go through things like that. And you find out most games are lost, not won. Most of the games on Saturdays and Sundays are lost less, but they're not truly won. So what I've done over the years is just study winning football and what it takes to win football games. Practice those habits. That's what part of our 78% mentality is, of the three categories directly tied to winning, the most percentage that it's tied to winning. And then make sure you're practicing those types of habits and instincts. And then it's up to us to be able to find a way to hold on to leads and come back from deficits. And nothing's perfect, but you have a formula, you have a plan, you have your own beliefs, and you have your own identity, and then you got to go apply it.
Tell us about freshman running back Marquise Irving, another non-prominent name on the team, at least for now. 15 carries, 89 yards. And with Irving, he pops up out of nowhere and contributes in the shutout. Tell us about him.
Well, first of all, that's what recruiting's all about, and Glenn Mason said it best. You have to have a pair and a spare. And I said this before in the season, we better have a pair, a spare, and then some air to fill up the pair and the spare just in case, because you just don't know. And Glenn Mason, I said that quote a long time ago, and he's 100% right. And no matter what level you're in, and for us, the best player in the conference goes down, but then you got to trust your recruiting. You got to trust your development. You got to trust your coaches. Trey Potts is ready to be able to take that load upon himself. And then Bucky Irving, we call him Bucky, but really the team calls him Bucko because Bucky is a mascot of, the team over there to the east. So, so they call him Bucko, and he's a really, really special talent. And we knew that when we were recruiting him. He's a guy that was recruited by a lot of different players. He's very dynamic. Then throw in Kai Thomas, who's a kid from Kansas and the Topeka area, and who redshirted last year, but really is kind of the mixture of speed and power, a little bit more of a bigger, heavier back. And then you still have Cam and Bryce. So I told everybody it was going to be a little bit more about by committee, after Mo went down. And this is what I mean. There's a lot of guys that are going to get plenty of playing time, and they all have different strengths. And it's going to be fun to see how they develop throughout the year.
And PJ Fleck 9 to noon. I'm the last to be second guess guy, and you know that. But it's interesting to think about Trey Potts and his 3 touchdowns with Muhammad going down, and Trey looks to be with the committee, kind of the heir apparent, and maybe certain games he'll carry the lion's share. He's also your punt returner. Is that in any way risky, having him return punts, given the reliance on the running game?
Well, I think there's any time you get a chance to put a ball in a playmaker's hands, I think he does it very well. And for us, he gives us an opportunity for an explosive play on special teams, just like if we handed the ball to him. But we'll continue to look at that as we go forward. We got some other guys who can definitely do it. That's been brought up numerous times. But, we're going to take things in one-game increments. We got to do what we have to do to win that particular football game. Our goals are always to be 1-0. Right? And we want to be 1-0 in the Bowling Green season. That's the only thing we're focused on right now, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to win that football game.
You got 4 sacks from your defensive linemen, which obviously makes you happy, makes Coach Rossi happy, and the fan base. Makes me happy, too, because now I never have to ask again, hey, PJ, 0 sacks from the defensive line. Does that mean you have to blitz to get to the quarterback? That was a nice little step.
It was a nice step. And the great thing about it, the 4 sacks came from 2 guys who played the exact same position and really split time equally. They split time right in half. They had the same amount of reps. Thomas Rush had 2. Boye Mafe had 2. And one thing I love about them is they compete with each other. There's a great picture of Boye Mafe celebrating with Thomas Rush after his first sack. And they're selfless. They don't care who gets the credit. They just want the job done. And I give those 2 a lot of credit for the development that they've had together. And really, taking ownership of maybe not being able to get the pressure on the quarterback themselves and saying, hey, we got to be able to get more pressure, and we've got to be able to play harder and play better and play longer. And they were able to accomplish that in the 3rd game, and hopefully they continue that trend as we go forward.
Now the kicker and the life of a kicker. I mean, you get him from Kent State, and he's phenomenal to start the season, which personifies sometimes you can be the peacock and sometimes you can be the feather duster. He missed from 24 and 46 and an extra point. And it's not like that's a guarantee it's going to happen week after week. But the only reason I bring it up is working in the land of kicking misfits with the Minnesota Vikings. I know mentally, from a confidence standpoint, they're just different creatures. And if they lose their confidence, you could be in trouble. Do you see it that way? And what do you think about Matthew?
Well, first of all, Matthew's a football player. He's just like our quarterback. He's just like our running back. He's just like our right tackle. He's just like our D tackle. I mean, when we don't block the right guy, I'm not going out there and screaming at that guy, right? I mean, I'm there to encourage them on game day. I'm there to be there for them.
Yeah.
We'll make the adjustments after that. He missed the field goal, came over, and he's so accurate. I believe in these guys. He missed two. He missed an extra point plus two. Put him right back out there for the third one, and he nailed it, right? Then nailed the next extra point.
Yeah.
He just got, we call it keep rowing, but you got to keep swinging. And it's like a golfer. And I believe in my players, and I'm going to continue to believe in my players because they've shown me why I can believe in them. And not everybody's perfect. Not everyone's going to be perfect. And I'd rather encourage them to get them better and to get them to be able to overcome their obstacles than discourage them. And that's my choice, but that's how I like to coach my team. And listen, they know they have a job to do. I have a job to do. I prefer him to make it. And I know he's capable of making it. He's made huge kicks. And what I loved about the whole thing, everybody's talking about it today for that. What I loved about it is what nobody talks about is he came back after that and made one that really put the final, cherry on top. And so he responded the way I wanted him to respond. And there was no doubt in my mind I was going to keep putting him out there. And there was no doubt in my mind that he would respond at some point.
That's fantastic. 10:55. Lastly, Carl Mecklenburg spoke at your captain's breakfast, okay? Gophers linebacker in the early 80s, 12-year Denver Bronco. I mean, viewing it from afar, because I don't know what he said or what happened, but elite story parallels here from Mecklenburg to football players, in my opinion, because he was a 12th round draft pick and he didn't let others shape his reality. He ended up being a 12-year linebacker and a 4-time All-Pro and played in 3 Super Bowls from a 12th round draft pick. The Mecklenburg and the captain's practice, how did that work out?
Well, he's such an amazing alumni. He spoke to our team numerous times. We finally got to go out to where he lives out there in the Denver area. And so it was a no-brainer to have him come talk to the team. We talk about the ultimate overachiever. That's what Carl Mecklenburg was. And when you look at, Mike Nolan, who was my head coach for the 49ers when I played, also coached Carl when he was in Denver, and Mike Nolan was at the game too. So it was really cool to have that type of reunion with those guys. And, we're just so proud of the alumni that we have, especially it being homecoming week this week. But when you look back at Carl, the message was just about overachieving, about enjoying the journey and getting the most out of yourself. And he wasn't recruited to go to the University of Minnesota. He wasn't even here to start. He had to come here and walk on after he transferred. A lot of people don't know that. And then finally earned a scholarship and then got drafted and became All-Pro and did all those other things as kind of an ultimate overachiever. So our program's designed that way. Our program's all about that, rewarding walk-ons and rewarding the talent of a person, not just the God-given skill that you were blessed with and born with, but also the talent of the person, that heart, that spirit, that inconquerable will, that non-measurable type trait. And Carl is a perfect example of what that's all about.
Lastly, I promise, how would you respond to somebody like if you're at a mall and you're with your wife, Heather, or you're at a grocery store and, you're 2-1 and you just shut a team out and I mean, looked quite honestly, looked very organized and very good. And somebody walks up to you saying, "Hey, PJ, I've had season tickets for 15 years. Congratulations on the 2 victories. Make it 3 victories because you're 4 touchdown favorites over Bowling Green. You can't lose that game." How do you respond to stuff like that?
Well, first of all, I don't go to the grocery store in season or go anywhere besides pretty much my office. So I don't have to worry about that. I mean, if Paul Rovnak says that, then we got a problem.
Okay.
ID. We take things in 1-game championship season.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing we talk about. And we don't talk about anything else. We talk about being our best every single week and eliminating any external distraction, no matter what it is. We educate our players of what they're going to hear. We celebrate. Listen, us, PA. We celebrate like we won the Super Bowl after every single win. Why? Because winning's hard. I've been 1-11. I know what that's like. I know how hard it is to win. And our players, I never want them to take winning for granted. We come in on Sunday, right before we start the meeting. We pat each other on the back, literally, with the left side. Turn to your right. Pat that person on the back. Great. Pat yourself on the back. Everybody tell each other we did a great job. Now, put your leather vest on, zip it up, because now it's time to get better. You better have that leather skin, because now it's time to dissect the film and get better. So that's the mentality that we have. And I wouldn't say that to somebody in the grocery store. I would probably tell them, thank you very much for being a supporter. Can't wait to see you at the next game. It's the most important game. We're really 0-0, sir or ma'am. We're going to change our best. Come row the boat with us and help us become 1-0.
Hey, man, that was fantastic. Highlight of the radio show so far, and I appreciate you for your time. Paul Rovnak for all the assistance he gives. Thank you very much, PJ. Good luck 11 a.m. KFAN against Bowling Green.
You got it. Row the boat, Sky Mud, go Gophers, and Skull Vikes. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate you. PJ Fleck, 9 to noon.